I've long held the belief that supernatural gifts are passed down through bloodlines. But sometimes the problem is not all the recipients are that accepting of these gifts. In episode 6, our guest came upon an old hospital where she felt like something was trying to possess her. One of our listeners verified this information and got in touch with us to share what she knew of this place. And of course, share her other creepy experiences with her special gift. We also talk about how you can protect yourself from some of these malevolent beings. Our guest shares her first-hand experience on this. Enjoy. For the podcast, you don't have to introduce yourself. Kasi
Okay.
as much as possible, some people want to remain anonymous, of course. So you
Okay.
can start anytime.
Okay. So the reason why I reacted so much when I heard the podcast of was because I knew of the facility she was talking about.
Okay.
Because I used to do my clinical hours at that facility. So that's why when I commented on it to my kabarkada, I was telling them that, oh, story is legit because I used to do my clinical hours at that facility. So I've heard the stories, and there are actually certain areas that are off limits, and there's a reason why some of those areas were off limits. But personally, my encounter was not in that facility, but I've had several encounters, and actually my encounters date back
Okay.
to when I was a kid pa.
How old? How old?
Around, according to my parents, it was when I was 5 years old that they started noticing I was I would randomly talk into a blank space. Like there's nobody there. It's just furniture. Yet my parents would notice that I would always have a setup of like my toys or my tea set, my lutuan set, whatever. And lagi akong may kausap daw.
Okay.
Now, at first my parents ignored it na parang because they know it's normal for toddlers to do imaginary play because that's a part of their development. So, initially my parents ignored it. But later on, as I grew up, so when I was around 7 years old, my dad particularly was telling my mom already that I have a playmate. And it's the same playmate that I've had when I was 5. Now, the reason why this is coming from my dad is because my dad has a third eye, and he he I don't know if you've heard that you can choose to have it open or to have it closed or to have it enhanced. Diba some people would talk
Mm-mm.
diba there are some people who talk about that.
Yes.
My dad had his enhanced. He had it open and he had it enhanced when he was growing up.
So what's the difference? It's like opening is just actually para
Yeah, opening is to just see.
Okay.
But according to my dad, when you have it enhanced, you end up seeing full details of those people or those spirits. Like you can see the features specifically.
Okay.
And unfortunately, my dad sees every speck of detail. That's the freaky part.
Okay.
And for some reason, he attracts these people. He attracts these people and he sees them everywhere, unfortunately. So, and I don't know if my mom is speculating na baka that gift went down to me.
Yes.
So my mom is speculating that because yun nga, since at a young age, yun nga may kausap daw ako, may kalaro daw ako. And my dad confirmed to my mom na my playmate has still been that same kid for how many years.
Do you have the name? Do you still remember the name?
I don't remember her name, but it's so weird that I still remember how she looks like.
Can you describe? Is it okay if you can describe her?
Yeah. So she's in a light pink dress with ruffles, and she has a bob haircut. So she's a girl. She has a bob haircut, black, and medyo singkit yung eyes niya. And I remember she would tell me, like, invite me to play, or if not play, like, just to talk. That's all I remember from that. And my parents ignored it because harmless naman daw. Kasi I wasn't getting hurt naman or anything. And it's not like stuff were being thrown around or stuff were levitating all of a sudden. Nothing like that. Nothing creepy like that. But sometimes I still dream of her. I don't know if that's because nangangamusta siya or something, but when I dream of her, I just say a prayer na lang.
Was this in your house?
Currently, where I live, yes, it's this exact same house, because I lived here since I was born, so it's still the same house.
So do you still see her, or
I don't see her anymore, but sometimes I still get this eerie feeling that I know someone is like watching me or something. I still get that vibe, but lately I haven't seen her. I see her in my dreams. Like the last time I saw her in my dreams was about a month ago. And then I just say a prayer.
do you get to talk to her, or uncontrolled yung dream?
In in the dream, in the dream I remember I would go like, "Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. How are you?" And then I don't hear any voices in return. It's like I'm able to talk to her, but then it's like, I don't know, parang I cannot hear her reply back. Yun. So that's one encounter that I have growing up. But because I'm a medical practitioner myself, so I'm a registered nurse, one of the freakiest encounter I had was I will not name the hospital na lang.
Yes, of course.
Yes, I will not name it na lang. I was doing my clinical rounds, night shift. So night shift is 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. I was about to end my shift. So it was around 9:30. So I was already about to endorse my patients that I had for the day. I was going to endorse them to the incoming nurse for the next shift, the graveyard shift. So I said my goodbyes. I already made palam to my patients. So the last patient was at the last room at a hall. Down this hall, it was the last room. So I had to walk back to the nurse's station na. Medyo far walk. That's like about 20 rooms dadaanan ko. So walking back down the hall. It was just me. It was just me. I had the BP machine with me. So I was just walking back. Kasi the hallway is set up na on my left, if I'm facing the hallway, on my left are the doors. On the right, it's a it's a one-way mirror. So it's windows pero one-way lang sila. So you would just see your reflection. Yeah. So I was walking back, and then my friends could see me from the nurse's station. My friends who are all the way at the nurse's station sa dulo could see me naman. So I was walking back. When I was walking back, something grabbed my leg and nadapa ako forward.
Oh my.
As in face forward, flat face forward. Because the grip on my right leg was so abrupt. And I had to check my surroundings because like baka naman nadapa ako or natapilok ako or something. But wala eh. And I was wearing flat shoes naman. It's not like I was wearing heels or anything. Na naka-rubberize pa yung sapatos ko. So parang, okay, what happened? I felt something grab my foot. And then face forward ako nadapa. And then my friends even saw it. So tumakbo sila sa akin and they were checking up on me. Hey, are you okay? What happened? But when they were running towards me, I felt I was being pulled back.
Okay.
So nahatak na nga yung paa ko, I fell face forward, and then parang dinadrag pa ako.
To the opposite direction.
So yeah, that was the force I felt. But the thing is, what was behind me is just a janitor's closet. That's it. Janitor's closet and then a wall. So when my friends got to me, they checked up on me, and then I had to tell them na, guys, something grabbed me. Ayaw nila maniwala. They were like, oh, you're so clumsy, baka nadapa ka or what. But then I had a gut feel it was, I don't know, something. Because when I got home, I had bruising around my ankle. The bruising was like of a grip. It looked like a hand grip. And sobrang masakit talaga siya. Like, when I would press on the bruise, it was really black and purple. So, nagtataka ako tuloy. Na even my mom saw it. My mom was like, what happened to your foot? Ba't ka may pasa? And then I had to tell her. And then she was like, did you see something? I told her, no, I didn't. I wanted to out of curiosity, I wanted to get the bottom of it. So I was asking around the older staff nurses in that area. I told them what happened. And they apparently now, I encountered a notorious patient that even they have had their encounters with that patient.
What other experiences did they?
Yeah, there were other experiences. Like, apparently that quote unquote patient is particularly violent. Kasi other instances that the other staff nurses encountered was that there were doors closing on them, iniipit ang mga kamay nila sa door, or one of the notorious tricks he or she daw would pull is nanghahatak ng buhok, nanghahatak ng kamay, they would pull your hand, or kawawa naman daw ako. Ako daw paa talaga, so na that I had to fall pa. Parang it caused harm to a bunch of the staff there, and they couldn't explain it.
Was it in the same wing all the time? In that same area?
It's the same wing. Yep, it's in the same wing for that encounter. And then that particular patient apparently also does prank calls sa mga nurses na nasa graveyard shift. Nagpa-prank call siya. And unfortunately, I encountered one of those prank calls because a few weeks later, I was back in that wing, and I was already in the graveyard shift. It was around 4:30 in the morning. I was in the nurses station. I was just doing my charting, and then so the phone that's connected to the patients' rooms, one of them rings. So I just answered the phone, and then pagsagot ko nung phone, I just hear breathing. And then when I looked at the number or the light where the call is coming from, it's from that particular room that the nurses have warned me.
Okay.
When I saw the room light, I was like, oh my Lord, please.
So I'm assuming that person died in that room. Or
Yes. Feeling ko that's the situation that happened there. And I guess it was maybe, I don't know, a grumpy patient that died or something. Because as much as possible nga daw, should a patient get admitted, the nurses want to keep that room empty because of for safety reasons, you know. And in a way, para I guess it's to monitor na rin na there's really no one in there, yet that room somehow calls the nurses station and likes to prank these nurses, lalo na at ungodly hours. There's one of my worst encounters in in a hospital setting.
when you were being pulled, did you feel the presence, or parang it was just like parang
When I got pulled down, so when I fell face forward on the floor, so syempre pain registered initially, but then at the same time, that area it felt particularly cold, as in eerily cold. I mean, I know malamig sa hospital, but then it felt particularly eerily cold, and ang bigat nung after the pain registered from my fall, ang bigat nung grip on my leg eh.
no, for you to get bruises, di ba?
Yeah, it formed bruises. Ang bigat nung feeling na it can't be na nadapa ako and I'm feeling that. I mean, if natapilok ako, why I wouldn't feel naman that something is gripping me. But yet I felt something grip me na up to this day, I could still feel how tight that grip was on my leg, on my ankle area.
How long ago was this?
That was back in 2012. So imagine like up to now, I could still feel how tight it was. Kaya medyo ever since that incident, I kind of developed I think you would call it a phobia na if somebody touches my leg, medyo I become praning about it. So I kind of developed that habit now. Na if somebody was to brush their hand on my leg or anything, medyo negative yung response ko doon because of that. And then I remember when I told my dad about it, my dad was even saying na parang he was even encouraging me to go back and look for the person. I was like, no.
To check.
It's like, no, I'm not looking for trouble. No.
Sa house, does your dad talk to you about it?
Here in the house, he just, what my mom has requested for my dad na lang is, don't tell us what you see.
Okay. Okay.
Yun na lang yung request ng mom ko. And I agree. I would like to agree with that. But related to my dad naman, I just want to share this
Yeah,
one.
go.
Kasi this one I found weird eh.
Mm-mm.
So, my parents separated in 2015. So, my dad left the house. Ever since he left the house, so okay lang naman. Tahimik pa naman sa house. Like, nothing eerie or whatever, and I don't see anything. But initially, in the first year that he left, kasi my dad, so I don't mind sharing this naman.
Okay.
Because I have to give this detail for you guys to understand it. So my dad and my mom separated because of the third party. So there was a third party, and my dad went with the third party. See, third party. My mom had some friends of hers investigate sino si third party. So, pina-investigate ng mom ko. One of my mom's friends is a medium. Like, she sees and she speaks to the paranormal or to these spirits. And ang kwento niya sa mom ko was that si third party is ang manananggal. How, when my mom heard that, and my mom made it kwento to my sisters and I, we were like, yeah, right.
Okay.
They don't exist.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Mm-mm.
Like we were so skeptical.
Mm-mm.
Until that medium person of that medium friend of my mom was already telling she was very makulit in giving us instructions like I need you to make holy salt, holy water, put the medallion of Saint Benedict on all your doors and windows, because I could see that the girl is up to something. My mom didn't believe until a couple of incidences happened. So the first incident was my mom went jogging around her village. So there's a park near our house. She went jogging around it. It was around 6 p.m. So she goes around like 5 times around the park. She was jogging. She got pushed to a bush in the park by a black figure. As in, my mom has 20/20 vision. She saw it, she felt it. That's why when she came back in the house, she was covered in a couple of cuts and leaves. Then I asked her what happened. I was like, hey, what happened to you? You look like a mess. And then she made cuento about it. And then second incident was with me. I was coming home from a party. I have a key, so I could open the gate and the front door without waking up everybody in the house. It was around 2:30 in the morning, so I went home. When I was opening the gate, somebody was peeping through. Kasi when you enter our house, it's the door, and then there's two windows on the side, so you could see a full view of the living room. When I opened the front gate, so I was about to open the front door na, pagtalikod ko, somebody was standing inside the house through the glass door. It was a girl. I remember it vividly. It still gives me goosebumps up to this day. Black dress, maputi yung muka, long hair, and she had yellow eyes.
Yellow eyes. Okay.
Yellow eyes. And she was just smiling at me. Like, oh my God, what the fuck did I just see? Like, I had to, I had to blink how many times. Kasi iniisip ko, am I drunk? Kasi, I wasn't drunk. I was able to go home and drive home safely. I was sober. Had to blink a couple of times. And then, I just stood there. Kasi nakatayo lang ako kasi na-frozen ako. And then, after blinking a couple of times, nawala na siya. Di natakot ako. I didn't want to pass the front door. So I stayed outside. I called my sister. I told my sister to open the door. But when she opens the door, bring flashlight and open all the lights. So my sister opened the door. Pagpasok ko, okay na. So I closed all the lights in the living room again. I'll close the Pag-close ko ng front door, looking outside sa may gate, she stood there na naman.
Oh my, grabe.
As in, and she was laughing pa. As in, laughing. Na, when she was laughing, I started crying. I don't know why. And sobrang, like, all my hairs were standing up. Sobrang goosebumps. And I started crying. And then I just locked all the doors. And then takbo ako agad inside. The next morning, I had to check, like, did I lock
Yes,
everything properly? Baka may nakapasok or
oo.
what? Wala. And then I brought it up to my mom. I told my mom about it. So I told her, maybe what Tita Chuchu warned us before, maybe it is legit.
Yes.
So I think we should take her advice
Oo.
and start putting holy salt and the Saint Benedict medallions around the doors and the windows. And true enough, we did that. We took her advice.
How do you make, sorry, side question. How do you make the holy salt?
Oh, yeah. Holy salt is actually just so you get regular rock salt.
Yes.
And then you just bless it. There's a prayer.
Okay.
There's a protection prayer that my mom found from ano yun? Because apparently I didn't know here in the Philippines there's actually an exorcism diocese. I didn't know that.
Okay.
Their main center is in EDSA Guadalupe. So my mom went to them kasi ever since these encounters, my mom went to them and started asking for help. So they taught us how to make holy water, holy salt. So apparently it's just getting water or salt, and then there's a prayer that you say over it. So they gave us that prayer. It's like a protection prayer. And then we also did that with the Saint Benedict medallions that my mom bought a bunch of them and started putting them everywhere in the house. But after that, after we put everything up naman, at least it became more quiet at home. Like we felt more relaxed and there were no more incidences like that. So we don't know if I guess we can start believing that maybe that other girl, si third party, is actually some spirit or whatever she is. And feeling nga ng mom ko na ginayuma na yung dad ko.
Oo. Possible.
Possible na yun eh. That's why kasi since 2015 I haven't heard from my dad.
Really?
Yeah, he never reached out to us. Yeah, we've never heard from him anymore. We know he's still alive. Yeah, but we just haven't heard from him ever since he left. Kaya feeling ng mom ko ginayuma na yun eh.
Parang
And
it makes sense na when he enhanced his third eye, it's possible that he opened up to a larger, parang mas naging beacon siya, di ba? I mean, naging lapitin nga as you mentioned.
yeah.
So possible na parang
Yeah.
na-encounter niya yung mga ganyan na...
Yun nga eh. Pero according to that medium friend of my mom, manananggal daw yung girl. Eh, my mom was like, how can you tell the difference? Baka naman witch lang yan or something. My tita never got to tell my mom what makes her a manananggal. But ever since that incident na lang, my mom just took the word of my tita, yung tita, si medium tita namin. Because, kasi din ano eh, I know, I don't know if you've heard, but there are some people daw kasi that they have this gift. If they don't see spirits or the paranormal, they have this gift or talent that if they look at a person, just looking at their picture or seeing their seeing them physically, they can read their aura eh. Yeah, diba? So there are some people who are like that. And one of my mom's friends naman who sees the aura of people, when that friend of my mom was stalking
Yes.
my dad and the other girl through Facebook, nung nakita daw niya yung picture ng dad ko, like how does he look currently, kinonfirm nga niya sa mom ko na there's a dark aura around your husband. It's so dark. It's so dark to the point now that she cannot look at the picture for long. It's that eerily creepy energy na that she cannot look at my dad's picture for long. Kaya, yun, feeling namin nagayuman na yung dad ko.
Does your tita parang do updates na parang, oh, this is what, parang she can see what's happening? Or
Ang hirap din because the girl keeps changing her Facebook. It's the girl who has the Facebook and then she shows pictures of my dad eh. My dad doesn't have his own Facebook. So, ang hirap for my mom or her friends to track how my dad is and everything kasi that girl keeps changing her pictures eh. Pictures, her identity in Facebook eh. But at least after that incident, so ngayon the house is covered in may mga holy salt kami. May mga Saint Benedict medallion sa lahat ng doors and windows.
kala ko enough na yung isa on you. Kasi kami, in our bags or in our pockets, but I never realized that you should put it on. I'm now looking at the window sa bahay na parang I should put, maybe sa doors I should put.
Yeah, because that one, diba, like what I said, I vividly saw that black figure inside. So parang, paano ka nakapasok? Diba? And although we each have our own, my mom gave us each a scapular. So we all have a scapular. And then may Saint Benedict medallion kami sa necklace namin. That one, at least I feel protected somehow. But it's still creepy that I'm still able to see these things. And it bothers me that I see these things kasi yun nga, I don't know, am I gonna be safe or what? Is something gonna happen to me?
So on a daily basis, you regularly encounter or see?
It depends where I am. Like here at home, I don't see anything. And so like I mentioned, my dad sees full details like the facial features and the yung damit and everything. Ako, sometimes I see details, sometimes I don't. I just see the silhouette figure. Now, I can tell if it's a boy or a girl, an adult or a child.
So it's like a shadow, parang shadow. It's if you don't see the details, it's like
Yeah, exactly. It's like a shadow. And then, but sometimes I see details. Like, yun nga, yung playmate ko apparently. Kasi up to this day, I know what she wears, I know her haircut, I know how her eyes look. So to some extent, I see some details. But majority of the time, I just see shadows or silhouette figures. And it depends on the place where I am. Like, at home, I don't see anything anymore. So currently, I work at a hearing center naman. And sa hearing center namin, alam ko meron because ilang beses ko na siya nakikita.
ano siya? Lalaki, babae?
It's a little boy. It's a little boy and naglalaro siya inside the hearing test booth namin. Naglalaro siya doon. So our clinic closes at 4. Past 4, wala ng patient. So I'm still working there because I'm typing results, I'm finishing some paperwork, and it's usually just me left alone. I stay there until for like 5, 5:30. 6 is the latest. Where my computer desk is, behind me is the room where the hearing test booth is. because I know I'm the only person there. Alam ko he's naglalaro kasi the I can hear someone stomping around inside the testing booth. Kasi the testing booth is it's it's elevated from the ground. So medyo hollow siya. Yeah, hollow yung under. So I know he's there because I can hear running inside the testing booth. And then, minsan, may nahuhulog na laruan because we keep some toys on the side for our pediatric patients. So, I would hear the tambourine or the rattling of yung isang toy namin. Hinahayaan ko lang yun kasi harmless siya eh. And alam ko naglalaro lang siya.
Pero have you seen this kid na before?
I've seen him one time kasi nagkasulubungan naman
Okay.
kami.
Ano yung
Ito yung
ano yung damit? Ano yung
he's naka-ano siya, naka-t-shirt and shorts. T-shirt and shorts. And then yung haircut niya, parang bowl haircut. Yung bowl haircut. Tapos, one time nagkasalubungan kami. Nung nagkasalubungan kami, that was when I kinda got a glimpse of the details about him. I was going up to the second floor, yung sa kwarto ng IT namin, because I needed to get one of my laptops there. And then, bigla, kasi pag akyat mo ng stairs, door agad ng IT. Bigla the door close, and then may tumatakbo. Nagkasalubungan kami.
nagka-eye to eye ganun?
Yeah. Ako, napasigaw ako, and then bigla nawala siya. Pero I swear to God, I saw a kid in front of me.
Pag nawala na yung feel, parang nag-dissolve or parang biglang
Parang ano lang, I don't know, it was like, poof, he's gone.
okay.
It was like, poof, he's gone. Nung sumigaw ako, nawala na lang siya. Sumigaw ako because nagulat ako, not because natakot ako. Nagulat ako na may somebody in front of me. I didn't mean for that. And then, after that incident, parang, it was a while until the noise started coming back in the clinic. Yeah. It took a while. Parang, it was like weeks before I would hear that the kid is back.
Nagulat rin siya sa'yo.
Siguro natakot siya sa akin nung sumigaw ako or baka na-feel niya na galit ako or something. Pero hindi eh. Genuinely sumigaw ako because nagulat lang ako na may tao sa harap ko. Not because of takot or what. Kaya ever since nung bumalik na siya, hinahayaan ko na lang. And sometimes I would just speak in the background na, huwag kang magkalat ha, naglinis na ako. I would just go like that. Harmless kid lang naman. Yeah, that's my everyday. Well, it happens about once a week, once every week or once every 2 weeks. I encounter him in the clinic, and it's okay with me. It's not something I'm worried about kasi harmless nga naman siya. And I've been working in that clinic for the past 4 years. So, okay lang sa akin. Okay lang naman sa akin.
Parang part of it na.
Part of it na siya. Yeah, kasama na siya. And then, during work hours, like let's say when the clinic has patients or pag may mga tao, wala naman siya. So, hindi siya nanggugulo or what. It's more of after hours siya nandun. So, okay na yon.
Hindi naka-istorbo sa business.
Correct.
In public, in other places, what are the parang hotspots that you would see a few?
Well, one time I did an intramuros tour with because we have some foreign partners. So I brought them. So they were in Manila for about a week, and they had like a weekend off. So because they were our guests, I had to entertain them. I brought them to Intramuros. I did an Intramuros tour to them. So bagay, the last time kasi I went to Intramuros, I was grade 2. So for the experience, sabi ko, sige, Intramuros tayo. So we went inside Fort Santiago. When we went inside, yun talaga makikita mo eh. Ang dami eh.
As in period clothes, yung ganun?
In the clothes, honest to goodness, in the clothes, in the uniform, the Guardia Civil uniforms, lalo na. Ang dami nila. but they're just standing there, or some of them were just seated there. And in a way, it's like there are people watching. Nanonood lang sila ng mga tourists.
Okay. Okay.
They're not doing anything. They're just standing there, or they're just seated on like a rock or something. And nanonood lang sila ng mga tao.
Are there instances like that in public na ganyan? You see a few or several na you get parang eye contact that they see that you can see them? Are there moments like that for you?
That's the one thing I kinda avoid.
Okay, so you just look away talaga.
Yeah, because I can see, I realize na I don't want to do eye contact, because I feel like the moment I do eye contact, I feel like they're gonna bother me already or something. So as much as possible, when I see them, okay, I see them, I won't freak out, but I'll look away na din. Because that's the one thing I really want to avoid. I really want to avoid eye contact. Kasi ayoko na susundan nila ako pati sa bahay,
Oo.
or wherever I
Oo.
go. Ayoko ng ganon, please. One time, I almost had an eye contact and I was in the MRT. Oh my God. I was in the MRT. Lord have mercy. I was in Ortigas Station. Pero hindi ako bababa doon. Bababa ako sa dulo pa sa North Ave. Nakaupo lang ako. And then,
Was it crowded? What time siya? Crowded ba? Or?
it wasn't that crowded. This was around this oras yun. Mga 11 in the morning. Morning to 11 in the morning. Wasn't crowded. Since nagsibabaan na yung mga tao in Shaw or Ortigas. So nakaupo na ako. And then, for a moment, parang nag-black out, like nawala yung mga ilaw. Because in Ortigas Station, so it's open. So you could see the window, like you could see the outside of the window of this from the seat across. So you could see the skyline or whatever, the buildings. Nung nag-black out temporarily, I was looking out the window. May nakita akong figure, nakatabi ko, nakaupo. Oh my Lord.
Parang sa reflection, ganun?
And ano siya, the figure I saw reminded me of Sadako vibes. Yung long black hair, naka-white dress. And she was beside me. And then the lights came back. Pagtingin ko sa mirror, or yung sa glass, wala na siya. Kasi alam ko din wala kasi akong katabi. Ang katabi ko, backpack ko, Diyos me.
Oo.
That was one freaky encounter I had lang out in public. I didn't want to scream or what kasi may mga tao din. Pero I jumped from my seat. Kasi parang, what the hell did I just see? That's one encounter I had in public. I've been meaning to because of these things I see, I've been meaning to have, I don't know, my third eye closed or something, if there's a way to do that.
I think there is a way naman.
I'm sure. I should ask my mom nga yung sa kakilala niya in that diocese place. Because it's sometimes it's okay because they're harmless, but sometimes it's already getting too freaky.
Especially if hindi ka open na bigla kami makikitang nakakatakot, di ba? Parang nakaka-stress rin siya.
Correct. I feel like I'm always on edge everywhere I go just because I see something. I mean, I'm able to function normally naman, and so far, hindi pa naman ako nasasaktan or what, but I think I just want to have it closed because, it's better that I don't see. Like, even to the point, ano to, in my, so my boyfriend lives in, ito quick story na medyo freaky. That's why I'm kind of hesitant to go to my boyfriend's place. So my boyfriend lives in Manila. He lives across LaSalle. He lives in a compound. So inside the compound are mini houses. So smaller houses. There's about 10 of them. So my boyfriend lives in apartment C, and then across his apartment is apartment F. One time, walang tenant si apartment F. So, and my boyfriend's a photographer. So, he wanted to do a photo shoot and he wanted to test out his new camera equipment. So, nag-set up kami sa apartment F. habang nagsiset up siya, like he would go from his apartment to apartment F. So across siya. While he was gathering his equipment, umakyat ako sa second floor ni apartment F. Pag-akyat ko sa second floor, there's a cabinet. It's built in, like it's attached to the wall. Pag-akyat ko doon, Lord have mercy, may babae who was on top of the cabinet looking down at me. As in, ang sama pa ng tingin niya sa akin.
Oo.
Eh di takbo ako agad. Sumigaw ako, takbo ako agad. I ran out of the apartment. I told my boyfriend,
Oo.
we're not shooting here. We're not shooting here. I'm telling you now. Get your equipment out of there. Let's shoot somewhere else. And then one of my boyfriend's helpers came up to me and then she was telling me, "Oh, nakita mo si ano?" Sabi ko, "Ha? Paano mo siya alam?" So apparently, there really is somebody there that even my boyfriend's helpers see her. So, according to my boyfriend's helpers, they don't know who she is. Kasi wala namang namatay in that area in that entire compound. Wala namang namatay. And then, I started getting the history now. Where is this built, like this property, where was it built on? Apparently, it was just built on an empty field. So, okay. And then, ang suspicion na lang nila is that apartment F kasi has been vacant for so long that maybe that person has just decided to stay there. For some reason, even they don't know, and even my boyfriend's parents don't know why nobody has ever occupied apartment F inside the compound. Kasi apartment A to D, it's my boyfriend and his family. So family members. Yung yung si E, F, G, H, and I, they rent it out. But of all the units, apartment F for some reason has just always remained empty for so long. Like they're never able to get a tenant to stay in apartment F.
This story sounds so similar as I'm sure this isn't the same apartment. Pero again, one of our hosts here sa Paranormal, this was what, 3 years back? Kasi one time she sent us a picture, same, merong cabinet, may gamit sa taas. Tapos sabi niya, again, pinicture niya. Tapos, it's as if merong mata. May dalawang mata sa taas ng sa taas ng
Oh my God.
cabinet. So, nung sinabi mo yung story, parang sobrang similar na, di ko magets ba't sa taas ng cabinet sila. Pero nandun, as in,
Yung nakita ko naman, oh my God, figure po siya. Physical figure. She was ano pa?
crouched, parang naka-crouch.
Yeah, crouched position. You could see her hands on the dulo of the cabinet part. And then her eyes were peeking out.
Okay.
And ang sama pa nung tingin. So, sobrang na-stress ako noon. Kasi talagang kapag akyat ko ng stairs, yun talaga yung unang nakita ko eh. Kaya I was telling my boyfriend na, no, na even if he and I get married, for sure we're bound to stay in that compound. I told him, we're not staying in F. Hell no. You cannot pay me enough money to stay in F. Even if we're gonna stay there rent free, I don't care. I'd rather pay.
How long have they stayed in that compound?
Since 19, I think it was early 90s pa. Early 90s. So tagal na rin. Early 90s kasi they used to be in Binondo and then they moved there. So early 90s pa yung compound na nakatayo.
Him personally, does he tell you stuff or?
He doesn't see. And I was telling him, okay na yan. Okay na yan. Dahil I don't want the two of us seeing pa. That's why every time, let's say we would have sleepovers, kasi yung bahay ng boyfriend ko is like the designated sleepover ng barkada. Every time we would have sleepovers, basta pag gabi na, nobody looks at apartment F. Parang, don't look at apartment F. Don't.
Understood.
As in, pag understood na pagpasok mo sa compound, look to your left right away. Diretso ka na lang sa apartment C. Huwag ka na tumingin sa right kay apartment F. Given na yon. Lalo na sa gabi because parang all the houses have lights. Tapos siya lang ang dilim-dilim.
Tanong ko lang just in case you have experiences with it lang. They say na parang 3 o'clock is witching hour. If ever you're out by 3, is there anything different? Do you feel anything different? Do you see things?
I don't think they choose a time. For my encounters, na like yun nga, yung when I went home from that party, that was 2:30 in the morning. 2:30 in the morning. Tapos yun nga, broad daylight, I can see. Tapos yung sa clinic hours ko, medyo hapon na yun. Personally, I don't think there's that 3 a.m. thing. Kasi so far naman, from what I've seen or encountered, I feel like they don't even choose a time. They just happen. But I do believe there is such a thing as the witching hour. But personally, from my encounters, I haven't encountered anything pa naman yet at the witching hour.
Going back to the story of have you heard or experienced anything in that hospital? Or maybe you've heard secondhand or third-hand story?
The stories I've heard, when I was there, I didn't experience anything.
Really? Okay.
But because that facility is so big, imagine that facility is as big as UP Diliman. It's big. And the buildings are kalat-kalat na you actually need a car to get to one building to another. So it's a huge facility. Off air, I think you know the facility.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh.
Yeah. So malaki siya. And there are some buildings kasi that are restricted or off limits because of paranormal reasons.
So they accept that there are paranormal reasons for closing down. Okay.
Yes. I did clinical hours there kasi for 1 month. 1 or 2 months. Mga 1 or 2 months. And I was there twice a week. From the staff that I've heard, kasi in the building where I was assigned, generally the public is allowed there. So like kung yung mga nag-OJT, pwede doon. But there are some buildings talaga that you cannot do your OJT there because it's really limited to the public. And in fact, there are some buildings there that if you're a staff of that facility and you get assigned to that building, you're only assigned there. You can't get assigned elsewhere also. Kumbaga, you're kept there. Kasi inside that facility, some of the buildings, there's this one particular building kasi, convicts are admitted in that facility. So they're admitted in this particular building, and that's why there's no public access there. Kasi these are convicts. Na in fact, it's guarded by the military. Like you'll see military or police people there. So if you're assigned to that particular building, diyan ka lang magjo-duty. You can't duty outside. But there are some buildings naman, talagang off limits na siya because of some incidences from some patients. So there are some suicide incidences. So and some violent incidences that I've heard. And what they do, they just abandon the building.
Okay.
So hindi na siya ginagamit.
Okay.
And then you can clearly see the signs off limits talaga.
Okay.
No trespassing, mga ganon. Bawal talaga. And tipong these are like nakapadlock and everything.
Yes.
And then inside that whole facility kasi, if you're a visitor, you're only allowed until 3 or 4 p.m. to stay. Kasi the next time the facility opens is at 7 a.m. So if you stay there past 4,
You have to stay
And
there
let's
until
say,
7.
yeah, you have to stay
Oo.
there until 7 a.m. na.
Okay.
That's why I made sure I don't stay past 4.
Okay.
I don't want to even try. I
Yes.
never even wanted to try
Oo.
because of yun nga, the privacy issues and yun nga, according to the staff, there were some incidences already that they'll see these spirits walking around. Some of them are violent. Some of them nakikita mo lang naglalakad lang. Kasi din ang laki din ng property ng facility na yun. Yun. So that's my encounter in that particular facility. Na I also told this to my friends when I heard the podcast. I really confirmed and verified with my friends na oy legit yan. Yun, that's why I remember when I was completing my clinic hours there, talagang where I was assigned, I really just stayed there. I didn't loiter around the property or what. And if I was, let's say, gonna go to, if I needed to go to another building, lagi talagang may kasama ako. I never went alone.
Last question. Sorry for taking up too much of your time.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
So there are, again, these spirits, and we were talking to this other person the other week. Now, he sees things that aren't spirits. So what he's implying is, parang, yun nga, manananggal, out of this world. Do you see other things like, or experience, or feel, I guess, cliche na, kapre, or yung mga duwende, gano'n. Meron ka bang gano'n feel or
If there are
experience?
others, sa bahay ng lola ko, yes. Kasi my lola's house is also same subdivision where I live. The subdivision where I live kasi has been around since 1968, 68, 69. So it's an old subdivision. But back in the day, it was all fields lang. Fields lang siya. No structure whatsoever. So my lola's house was one of the first houses that was built. Um, even when my mom, so my mom grew up there and all that, hearing from my mom stories about how their house was back in the day, uh, she has had her fair share of weird incidences sa bahay. Like example pa lang, there's a specific area in the garden of my grandparents na if you destroy that certain area, parang you're destroying daw bahay ng duwende. Because one of the helpers of my mom before. So my mom, this was when my mom was in college. One of my mom's helpers daw was digging holes on that area sa garden. And then, bigla na lang, nagkasakit yung helper nila. Unexplained, like she had boils on her skin na pag pinutok, a new boil would grow. And then, mainit yung tubig nung boil nung pinutok. Tapos, ang taas-taas ng fever niya. My grandmother is a doctor na even she couldn't explain what was happening to their helper. So, feeling tuloy ng lola ko, when my lola asked her, what were you doing? Tapos kwento nung helper nila na magtatanim daw siya ng ganito, in that area, my lola already had a gut feel na, ay, bahay ng duwende, sinira mo.
Mm-mm.
So, instead of bringing their helper to the hospital, pinadala siya sa isang albularyo. And then the albularyo was able to help yung helper naman nila. So, nawala lahat yung boils or whatever. Kaya, a few years ago, when my my lolo wanted to have a swimming pool built in their garden, they had to configure how
Avoid.
they were gonna build the pool while avoiding that area.
Okay.
Kasi baka daw yung mga construction worker madamay pa or something. So they had to configure it out. So I guess, and then out of respect na lang, ako, whenever I visit their house, I also avoid that area na lang din. And then, so okay, duende is fine. I'll believe in that. But then, because my grandparents' house, it's a huge house. And imagine there are only 3 people in that house. It's just my grandparents and a helper. That's it. And then a driver, pero hindi naman siya stay at home. So, it's a huge house with 3 people lang. It's really, there's really a something na in my grandparents' house. And that one, I've also seen that.
What
And
what would you describe it?
ang,
Oh,
ang speculation namin, it's my mom's brother.
really?
Kasi my mom has a brother who died when he was only 3 days old. So, namatay siya nung baby siya. And ang speculation namin na he's just staying in the house. There are 6 rooms in the house. There's this one particular room. It's a bodega now, but that room was supposed to be the room of the brother of my mom. A couple of times, every Christmas, when we would have dinner in my grandparents' house, kasi the setup is yung dining room, and then sa gilid ng dining room, kita mo na yung mga doors sa mga kwarto. So, one time we were all eating on the table. Parang we're 8. We were 8 people on the dining table. Bigla na lang the door opens, a black figure comes out and passes by.
Oh my. As in a lot of people saw it.
All 8 of us saw it. None of us were hallucinating.
Oo.
So we were all like, as in we saw the door open, nag-close siya, and may black figure na dumaan. This was Christmas, ha? And then, nung nawala na yung figure, as in parang dumaan lang na black figure and then nawala, nag-dissolve na siya. Nung nawala na siya, lahat kami nagtinginan na parang, nakita mo ba yon? And then everyone was like, oo, sino yon? And that room is supposed to be the room of my mom's brother nga. So suspecha namin that that's my uncle who never left. And okay lang naman with my grandparents and my family kasi nga parang at least we know he's here. He's here, he's with us, and he's harmless kasi hindi naman siya nananakit eh. Like wala pa namang bad incidences sa bahay. And so feeling ng grandparents ko bantay siya. Kasi din sa sobrang laki ng bahay ng grandparents ko, there are so many opportunities na pwede mapasukan yung bahay eh. There were so many opportunities or chances. Pero never pa sila napapasukan or nananakawan or what.
So baka nga bantay.
So feeling nga namin that's my uncle and bantay siya sa bahay. Na-shock lang kami noon kasi Christmas na Christmas yun.
Tsaka lahat kayo nakita.
Yeah, bigla na lang dumaan. As in, like, napatigil lahat yung kain namin. Tumingin kasi kami.
Kasi may sound din. Nag-open yung door, di ba? Yun yung ano nyo eh.
Yeah. And again, from the dining table, your view are all 6 doors. You can see all 6 doors. And yung dulong door, yung sa pinakadulo, is the one that's closest to the dining table pa. So nakita talaga namin yun as in nag-open yung door, may sound and everything. Tapos may black figure na dumaan.
Very vague shadow lang siya. Hindi mo alam kung guy or girl.
I saw a shadow. When I asked, so everyone was asking, my dad was with us at the time, so everyone was asking my dad, parang, uy, ano yung nakita mo? Kasi for sure, we all saw something, pero we asked my dad since he sees details. Sabi ng dad ko, lalaki na nakabarong and black pants. So yun yung nakikita ng dad ko. And then, I remember my lola was even emotional and she was asking my dad like, oh, how does ano look like na? Kasi nung namatay siya, baby siya eh. So parang my lola was, I remember, she was emotional and she was asking my dad, uy, how does he look like na? How does he look like now na? My lola was desperate for that because to the point we had to go to a sketch artist.
Really? Okay. So she wanted to see what he was like.
Mm-hmm. We went to a sketch artist and pinaano niya, she had my dad describe the figure he saw to the sketch artist. And then, true enough, napaluha yung lola ko because he looks like my lolo, yung na-sketch.
Okay. Oo. Really?
Yup. Yun. So we know, so we have an idea na it is my uncle. So that one's okay. But going back to your question, I haven't seen a duende. I don't know how they look like, but I just believe na lang that they're there. And I don't think if my lola didn't believe in them, then they wouldn't be reconfiguring out the construction of the pool or what. But because she strongly believes in that, they really took that into consideration when they were doing the plans. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you so much too. When told me about this, sabi ko, oh my God, girl, I have so much to share. Believe me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much too.
Thank you to our listener turned guest. We would like to invite other listeners to share their stories. The more stories we hear, the more we get to piece together this invisible world. You can get in touch with us on Facebook or email us at paranormalsph@gmail.com. That's paranormals with an S at gmail.com. Thank you for listening. The Paranormal Podcast is engineered and produced by F90 Productions. Rate and review our show on Spotify, Pocket Casts if you enjoyed it. Thank you.